Nice. I'm in, you know where Six Flags is?
Yes.
I live 5 minutes away from there.
Oh, really? Cool. Okay, small world. So yeah, I actually came down to school. Obviously, I'm getting my master's degree in journalism. So, and classes are in person. So I'm down in Alabama, but my family's doing good. How is yours?
Yeah, we're doing good. Just trying to stay active with the workouts. That's the main thing. And
Mhm.
obviously busy with this podcast and rolling through these interviews. And actually today's my mother's birthday, so they went to Costa Rica today. So it's me and the dog for 1 week here. So
Oh, well, happy birthday to your mother.
thank you. Yeah, and then this whole year has been weird with all the COVID and the deaths in sports, all the legends dying, and actually myself, we're going through a lot. I lost two friends from high school this year alone, not because of COVID, but because of motorcycle accident, and one another one was it's two accidents. It's just crazy, and I just want 2020 to be over. So yeah.
Yes, well, we're almost there. We're like, I think, what, 3 months left? We could do this. So,
Yeah, so I want to get to your journey into your journey a little bit, and when did you get interested in becoming in the sports industry, and who did you look up to actually growing up as a reporter or journalist?
okay. So I remember around like middle school, I think I was in seventh grade. My dad and I loved watching NFL Sunday. We would sit there on the couch the entire day, break down the game, do all that fun stuff. And I, like, in seventh grade, you don't really know what you want to do. And my father was like, we saw Erin Andrews on TV, and she was doing her sideline hits and stuff. And my dad was like, hey, like, you'd be pretty good at something like that. You should look into it. So when I got to high school, because the media club was more of like an upperclassman type thing. So I remember I went to my teacher, Mike Petrowski. We call him Mr. Poe. He's an awesome guy. And I remember just going up as a little freshman, going into the classroom like, hey, like, what can I do to get involved? And here are my dreams. He probably thought, like, who the heck is this kid? Like, she wants to become a ESPN broadcaster. Like, what the heck? But he really took me underneath his wing, showed me the ropes. I did a lot of cool stuff in high school. We're very fortunate to have a full set like studio in the high school. A lot of high schools don't have a program like that. So
Yeah.
I was able to anchor some sports, commentate some men's basketball when I wasn't playing basketball myself.
Hmm.
And I got here. So like you said, I'm a student athlete at Alabama. So I was going on a bunch of officials about my senior year for rowing. And I knew Alabama had a great program in communications. I knew they had a studio on campus. So I was really into that. So that did help sway my decision to come here and row for Alabama. And yeah, that's like my journey. And I mean, there's so many amazing women like right now in the industry that you can look up to, but my favorite is Mina Kimes. I think she is unbelievable. And also Holly Rowe too. I actually got an opportunity to meet Holly, and she sat down with me for 2 hours and
Wow,
helped me
Holly
get
Rowe.
my first internship. She probably doesn't remember who I am, but you know what? She made an impact on my life. So
That's amazing. If you get to sit down with Holly Rowe, then that's something big right there. And obviously, she's been through a lot with her own life, and she's working.
Mhm.
She works hard every day, and I respect her a lot. Speaking of women in sports, I actually, like I said, I interviewed Brittany Bowen. I also interviewed Anita Collins from ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah, I interviewed Sarah Hodges, if you know her,
Mhm.
from California, and all these other women reporters. So I'm just honored to talk to you guys and see how inspiring you guys work, because you guys deserve it. Women in sports is everybody should be talking about it. And so what do you think? How inspiring is it that you're seeing all these women getting their chances to work in sports, even you, and even like women coaching male sports too? What's it like seeing that?
Yeah, it's inspirational, and it's gotten better over the past years. You have your trailblazers like Doris Burke, like all those women who were for us, and it's awesome to see that, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think the future is bright. I think it's awesome that there is an online community. Like, I have never been more supported by the males in my business and the females, like, than I have been over Twitter. Like, everyone to me seems so supportive and like wants to be the next step, where like wants to be part of the generation where we're, you know, breaking into the business and more females are getting opportunities. So to me, I think it's amazing, and I hope someday like I can be a trailblazer, you know, and like set the example for girls that are coming up behind me. So I would say if I met Doris Burke, I think I probably would faint. She is the GOAT. And I think it's, you know, it's great, but I definitely think it needs to get a lot better. I know there's some issues with like, you know, the double standard of why women get into this industry in the first place. But I think, you know, with the next group of talent that's coming up, we could definitely break that stereotype.
Yeah. You know who you remind me of a little bit? Laura Rutledge.
Wow. Okay. That's an honor, because I met her about 3 years ago. She came to Alabama because her husband used to play for Alabama. So here at Alabama, we have an amazing career like staff. Like, they really help us with our, you know, resumes, cover letters, career fairs, you know, all that cool stuff. We have a really awesome safety net here. And my advisor was like, hey, like, I know her. She's actually in town for SEC Nation because I forget what game it was, about 3 years ago when Alabama had SEC Nation come. And she can, you know, she wants to sit down and talk to you guys. Like, there was like 3 of us who were interested in sports journalism. And she just was so cool. She literally sat down for like 2 hours with us and like just chatted. And I always will remember that. I remember the advice she gave me. And, you know, she's also great with interacting with people on Twitter, because I know she's so big now, but she's so good at still liking our stuff, still saying thank you and everything. So that's awesome that you said that, because she's one of my idols too.
I've been trying to get her on the show for a long time, and obviously she's busy, and she sees my stuff sometimes too. So I'm trying to, hopefully at some point she'll come on the show. I really want her to come on the show. Laura's she's such an inspiration, and she works hard too.
Yeah, she's literally like, no matter what it is, like, it just seems like she puts her heart and soul into everything. So, and also her voice is like perfect.
Yeah.
So that's like what I inspired to be, like, sound like her would be great.
she still rocks it, because she has a baby now, and she's crazy. I don't know how she balances it with the baby and working, but it's really hard. But my next question here for you: what is your experience like at Alabama so far, and covering all these sports at Alabama? And obviously, during this unique situation, it's not the full fan base, but half are in the stadium, I think. But before,
so it's around 20% are in the stadium right now, which is awesome. And you know, there's due to soccer, like right now being outside, there are a lot of limited fans, but we're making that progress, hopefully, because our men's basketball team and women's basketball team are supposed to be phenomenal this year. I'm very excited about that. So hopefully we can get some fans into Coleman Coliseum soon.
Yeah. So before the pandemic, but what's experience just covering these sports in Alabama, and the fan base is one of the best in my opinion, in SEC. But what's it like covering all these sports in Alabama?
Well, okay, so it is truly something I have never thought I would ever experience. When I was a freshman, I auditioned for Crimson Tide Productions, which is the ESPN affiliate for Alabama athletics. So they're in charge of everything that goes on, you know, on the big screen, the Jumbotron, to SEC network shows, ESPN linear shows. So I auditioned. There was like 100 people who auditioned, and I did not think I was going to get it, because I literally came after practice, and I was still in my practice gear, and everyone was in suits and dresses, and I'm like, there's no way in heck these people are going to hire me at all. And then little did I know they did. And then my first year, I was able to shadow a lot in the control room. That's like one thing that CTP really does emphasize, is you got to be in the control room. You got to learn those ropes first. So I was doing anything from some graphics to running the Blackstorm, which is like the video operation machine, you know, shadowing, watching them produce, watching them direct, which was really awesome. And then about my sophomore year, I got my like reporter big break for them, covering men's and women's tennis. I had no idea, or I had no knowledge of anything of men's and women's tennis, but I am so thankful, because they had like 60 or something games between the men and the women, and I was able to cover every single one of them.
Oh, wow.
So there, I learned how to shoot, I learned how to edit, started building relationships with these coaches and these athletes. And then, I mean, I my favorite sport here to cover is softball. Women's softball is any softball game, any college softball game is so much fun to watch. And at Alabama, their fans are absolutely crazy. So just to be a part of that, atmosphere and be able to share that winning home run or that winning game story is just unbelievable. And I have loved every single sport I've covered here. I've actually covered my own sport, which has been very fun and very interesting to do. But yeah, like I definitely have learned so much about each sport. And one thing that was great here was that, I didn't know anything about tennis. I didn't know much about golf or swimming and diving. And even softball too, I didn't really know much about until I was there. But CTP has done such a great job with me, like teaching me everything. And also too, it's about building that trust between the coach and the athlete. Like when they see you, they know that they're going to get a good interview and you're going to be respectful of their time. So I think that's what made my experience so far so enjoyable.
Yeah. So now switching gears to your sport, rowing. So obviously rowing, you need a lot of upper body strength to do that. And so obviously, I mean, the gym I go to, we do a lot of rowing too. We have a rowing machine. But for you, when did you get interested in that sport? How do you balance your sport and reporting at the same time?
Yeah. So, okay, real quick. So a lot of people do think it's arms, and rowers do have good defined backs and arms. However, the rowing stroke is 80% legs,
Yeah.
20% arms. And that's like a lot of people don't realize that our feet are attached, and you get more power from your legs than you do your arms. And also too, if you row with your arms, you're going to pull out your back. So that's like a lot of things like people are like, oh, wow. Like, because they kind of like, oh, like canoeing, right? Like, you use your arms. I'm like, no, it's actually like you're strapped in, like, and you're pulling, like basically you get all the power from your bottom half of your body. But so I started rowing my freshman year of high school, needed a spring sport, really didn't know what was going on. I was getting recruited for basketball and I wanted to play basketball in college. And then all of a sudden do you know what the erg machine is, the rowing machine?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I pulled a good 2,000 meter time, and I didn't notice at the time, but a lot of Division I schools look at anybody who's under 7 minutes and 30 seconds, so under 7:30. I didn't really know what it meant. I pulled it my junior year, and then the summer of going into my junior year, I got my first call from University of Iowa, and I was like, what the heck? Like, what is going on? And Alabama was actually the last school to contact me. So I had 4 officials set. I was going to Clemson, Tennessee, and those were my top 2 at the time.
Oh, wow.
Duquesne and Old Dominion. So I didn't know what was going on. I was kind of looking into the broadcasting programs because that's what I wanted to do. And Alabama called me out of the blue. I was like, hey, we would love to give you an official visit. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, there's something, I like something about Alabama. I don't know. And my dad was all excited because he gets to go on the recruiting visit and gets a free ticket to Alabama football. So he was all excited about going down to see the Tide play. And I just remember as soon as I got here, I'm like, wow, this is home for me. Like, I love it. And the girls, I mean, we've had coaching changes. We've had people come and go on the team. I've been on the team now for 5 years. Due to COVID, I had the extra year of eligibility. But it's been unbelievable. And also, too, one thing I love about Alabama athletics is that it's not athlete student. You're a student athlete. They always put the student before the athlete. And it really does show because we take academics so seriously here. And also too, my coaches have been so supportive of me having a career at the same time of me pursuing my athletic career. And I think that's like the relationship that you build here with the people who are helping you get your degree, and like them knowing like, hey, like, she can do both. Like, that relationship and that trust, I think, is what has made my experience so great. But it has been hard at times. Like, after practice, I would have to go cover like soccer practice, and I would literally be getting ready in my car like after practice. It happens, but it definitely has taught me a lot about myself and it definitely has made me a better person.
So actually, I want to bring that up. Obviously, NCAA did a great thing for you guys, for the athletes. So what's it like having that in the back? one year eligible. What's that like? What the NCAA did for you guys?
Well, that whole day when no one knew really what was going on, because it was actually really weird. Okay, that day that everything got canceled and the NCAA canceled all spring championship seasons, we were all like, it was weird. That practice was perfect. It was the best practice of my life. Everybody was like in sync. We had the fastest times. Everyone was like so pumped because we were traveling to a race that week. And then I just remember like seeing it on Twitter. I'm like, okay, like how can they cancel our season when it's like our championship season's in June? Like how do they know that far in advance? But obviously no one really knew the extent. So when they made it official in May, like I didn't know whether I wanted to come back or not. I didn't know whether it was me to like kind of just face the adult world and hop right in and try to get a job somewhere. Obviously it bugged me that I didn't get a chance to finish, 10 years of my life, like that. But when they approved it and coach was able to, they were able to give our scholarships back, which was unbelievable. I cannot believe Alabama did that for us. Like Greg Byrne and the administration really, really, really dug deep and really helped us come back, which is, I'm so grateful for. But the promise was between coach was like, you need to get a master's. So all of us applied to the master's programs and luckily we all got in. All the returners came in, and just like coming back to rowing now, I realized how much I missed it and how much I did take it for granted. Every practice, I feel like so far, all of us have been so excited, and like there's a new energy, there's a new like positive vibes that are like everywhere, and I think that I can finally have my goodbye to rowing, which has been like awesome to be able to have that opportunity. But at the same time, just not saying goodbye to the teammates and the coaches that really have molded me into the person I am today.
So my next question here. So whoever doesn't know about the sport rowing, explain to them how long does it take to prepare for that kind of sport, and for yourself, what do you do to train for that type of sport?
So, okay, rowing is like the best way to describe the sport of rowing at the collegiate level is kind of comparing it to cross country and track and field. So in the fall, we do a longer race around like 3 miles, like 5Ks. And that's kind of how cross country is, longer. And then in the spring, our main season, it's a 2,000 meter race. So it's a sprint. And that's how like track and field, they go from long distance to sprint. So currently right now we're in our fall season. So we're training like longer pieces, doing all that stuff, endurance training. And then in the spring we'll go to race pace stuff. So I'm just trying to think how to put it in like the best terms possible, because I don't want to seem too nerdy about it. But, you wake up every morning around 5, you go and get your treatment, and we have conditioning, like erg machine practices twice a week, on Monday afternoons and Friday afternoons. We're on the water every day, Monday through Saturday from 6 to 9. And then we have 2 weightlifting sessions after Tuesday and Thursday water practice. So, and then you have your treatment, you have, all that stuff. Saturday practices are 3 hours because we're doing some racing stuff where we put into different lineups and see who works in what boat and who doesn't. And right now due to COVID, we finally just got back into an 8-person boat. Normally when you think of rowing, you're thinking an 8-person boat. So 9 technically, because you have a coxswain, the person that's in charge of steering and yelling at us and telling us the race plan and everything. But due to COVID, we have been in small boats. So a 1-person boat and a single, or a 2-person boat, either a double or a pair, or a cox 4. But we would have to wear our masks. So that was the biggest adjustment. But today we had 5 boats across, all of us in 8s, which is great because we have about 60 girls on the team. Wow. So we were able to get a majority of the girls out today. So that's kind of how about rowing works. Training, it's aerobic work. You got to put a lot of those miles in, but it's a lot of anaerobic work too. And our AT workouts is what makes you stronger and has your muscles not tiring out too fast. But we do a lot of weightlifting too, especially now we're going a little heavier on the weights, but we do we target the hamstrings and like the whole lower body and also our back and stuff. But we do a lot of body weight stuff, which is cool, and a crap ton of core. Josh, our strength coach, he is all about the core, and we do a lot of stuff with that. So yeah, that's kind of how everything is. And we do a lot of cross training too, like once we get into like the winter and stuff. But luckily at Alabama, we're able to row year round on the water, which is pretty cool.
Huh.
I hope that made a lot of sense.
That made sense. No, actually, I love doing core workouts. That's my favorite thing to do, core workouts, and that, especially it helps you be mentally prepared for each sport. Actually, so core workouts helps out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But my next question here for you: how is it working right now with the COVID situation? Do the training staff and the coaching staff have to wear masks, or do you guys wear masks too, or just staff people?
Yeah, so Alabama, so we get tested every week when you're in season. You get tested every 2 weeks when you're out of season. So we also get screened for COVID before we enter any athletic facility. And you get like a wristband. I took mine off, but you get a wristband every day. We have to wear a mask when we're in the boats. Even though it's kind of hard to breathe, but we all understand the purpose. And also we're, being out on the water where we row is in the middle of Tuscaloosa. So we're very visible to a lot of people. We have the river walk, people are running up and down. There's a bunch of restaurants on the river. So we're very visible. And also we want to set that example of, hey, wear your mask. Like, we got this. Like, we're doing it. You guys can do it too. But our coaches are constantly wearing the mask. Athletic training is constantly wearing the mask. We are disinfecting the boats after every single row, after every single erg. The only time we are not wearing the mask is when we're on the erg. But the thing is where we're erging, our erg room is set up, every erg is 6 feet apart from all directions. And we do a lot of video review now because we can't really be next to each other, kind of. We are in a boat, but coach can't come up to our oar and fix it, so that's been a little bit of an adjustment. But I feel safe. I feel like everyone is taking this very seriously. And as of yesterday, they said we've been 2 months, none of the girls have tested positive, which has been really good. So we're taking it seriously because I think everyone just that pain of having your season canceled like that, no one wants to go through that again this spring.
Yeah. So what does obviously you practice in the morning, right? All the time. So so after you finish your practices and your testing and your training and your and the other things you do, do you do reporting stuff in the afternoon, or how do you balance your work too?
Yeah, so currently right now, I still work for Crimson Tide Productions, but due to the limited access to the fields and the athletes, we're not really doing much right now. So we're just doing a lot of training. But I also work for the TV station here, WVUA 23, and it's in the Birmingham market. Great people, and that's actually a required course in order for me to get my master's degree. So I've been covering high school football. So I would it just depends on the story and when time practices for high school football. I've been doing that, and also I've been helping out with a show called Crimson Tide Kickoff, which is the pre-show to Alabama football. So next week I'll be doing a little bit of around the SEC, what's going on, understand the rivalries and stuff between each team and each matchup that week. So I'm gonna try to have a little fun with that. So yeah, it just depends on what thing I do. It could be literally right after practice and I have 30 minutes to get ready, or it could be later at night. I do stay at the studio, sometimes at midnight to 1, just depending, if it's a softball game, I'll be there till midnight 1. And yes, I have to get up at 5 for practice, and that does suck, but it's all about the grind. And I think that's what's helped me get so far, because my coworkers and my bosses have realized oh, she's still grinding, and even though she has a lot to do. I never have complained about taking a late shift, or never complained about having to drive to Birmingham to cover which is an hour away, covering high school football. You always have to grind and keep your head down, because the rewards in the end will be awesome.
So my next question here, I want to talk to you about the football team. I know I don't think you cover the football team too, Alabama football.
Yeah, so working for the TV station now, I cover them. Like last year for Crimson Tide Productions, I did more fan stuff. So I would be in the student section kind of doing some trivia, like last time Alabama played Tennessee and whatever, who was the quarterback, trying to do that stuff on
Oh,
the quad and stuff.
was it Tua?
So it was like, I think it was back in like 2011 I did it, when it was AJ McCarron. So
McCarron, yeah.
yeah, so I would just do stuff like that. But now, since I work for a TV station, we're covering Alabama football constantly, which I mean, I do know the team and stuff, but my passion is like more women's sports. So especially the softball team, the soccer team, the women's basketball, and women's soccer. But I do like Alabama football, so hit me. What do you got?
All right, so I want to ask you, what's it like seeing a legendary coach in Nick Saban making this program competing every year pretty much, and obviously when they substitute each quarterback, like whoever goes in the draft, it's unbelievable how the depth this Alabama has when it comes to recruiting. You guys are the best recruiting class. You guys have the best recruiting class in the country, and all these players want to come to Alabama and play here. So what's it like just seeing him, Nick Saban, a legendary coach, and have you interviewed him or have you met him in person?
Yeah, so I have met him in person. I said I was a rower. He goes to the same church I do.
Oh, wow.
So it was a really funny story. My one friend was like, I need to get a picture. I'm like, okay, we're not chasing him after church to get a photo, but she did. So we went up and we spoke to him and he was like, oh, you're on the rowing team? Like, that's awesome. Like, how do you like it? And he had like a good 10-minute conversation. And, he's trying to hide from people because he's Nick Saban. Like, people are going to want to take pictures and stuff with them. But I've been in press conferences with him and it's just something. Don't you notice? I was talking about this with someone yesterday, one of my producers at the TV station. We were chatting about this. Nick Saban runs out of the tunnel so confidently that that Bama is ready to go.
Yeah,
And it's so cool. He runs so athletically compared to a couple of the other SEC coaches who apparently played football. They don't run like athletes. Coach Saban does. And that's kind of like how he is. He is no BS. Like, hard work and dedication will get you somewhere. And that's why it's called the Bama factor. And I just think that his mental thing of we're going to be the best, and we're going to do what it takes to be the best is the reason why it's like a big recruiting hotbed. And, football, we love football here, which is great. But the success of the football team is what has made Alabama athletics as a whole super successful and have that Bama factor mentality. So he's a really cool dude. Like I love when, a reporter asks a dumb question and he just like fires right back at them. I love that because, he's very straight to the point, but very confident. And I think that's the reason why Alabama is so good because they have a confident leader.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when he runs off out of the thing, that's when we're gonna win the game that day. He brings. Actually, he's the one who motivates the team more than the players do. But he reminds me of Bill Belichick from the Patriots, where he has that one thing, and they keep everything in house, and they don't mess around. They just focus on the next game and the next week, and that's what I like about Alabama because there's just focus on winning, and
Yes.
and that's what they have to be. And,
Yeah.
But now this is a two-part question for you. For you guys, have they given you updates when you guys are going to start your rowing season, and also the other sports that you cover like softball, women's basketball, and other women's sports? There, have they given them updates yet when they're going to start too?
So as of right now, everything is scheduled to be like it is normal. Just really is going to depend on the community itself down here, and other schools, how they do. And luckily a lot of times other schools are willing to adapt and try to figure out how to somehow race or so, but we're planning to go. I think we start March 26th or something. We're ready. We're planning to still go. We have a lot of fun races. We're going to be racing the Pac-12 invite out in Las Vegas, which is going to be that's like going to be the toughest race we've ever been to so far. Alabama rowing is a very young program. It's like, I think 13, 14 years old. and we have never made it to NCAAs. So, and I knew last year that was going to be our year, but now this year, you know, we are so set on making NCAAs and being a part of that program history, like the first time ever qualifying. So, you know, I just think the whole atmosphere right now between all the athletes is we won our season, and I think the fans are doing a good job of adapting to that too. And I think everything's going to go as planned.
So speaking of softball, there's one of the best out there, Jenny Finch. Have you connected with her, or has she given you any advice?
I have not connected with her, but I really, really do love her. She's so cool. But I actually, covering Alabama softball has been so amazing. Patrick Murphy is awesome, man. Like, he always gives you the best interviews, whether if they win or if they lose. And same with the girls. And you guys tell how invested the girls are with the program. And that's why they are some of the best in the country. And I'm actually really, really good friends. Well, my roommate is Sarah Cornell, and she is awesome. She's formerly SEC Pitcher of the Year. She is a stud, and just being around ladies like that and being friends with them, you know, because we're all athletes too, but also, you know, they're awesome people, and you can just tell how dedicated they are to the game. So I have not connected with Jenny Finch, but that's actually a really good person I should connect with. Yeah. Give me an idea. Maybe I'll reach out. So
yeah. You should reach out. No, actually, that would be awesome. I would like to have some of your roommates on the show, softball, especially softball. I never had a softball out of my I haven't had a softball player on yet. Mm-hmm. I'm still trying to find a softball player to come on the show. So I think I might reach out to some Alabama softball players too. So,
yeah, you should. Yeah, they're all awesome people. So
yeah. So I have a couple other friends that do podcasts. So I'm gonna send you their pages so you can check it out. Okay. So they do really good interviews, and also there's one you should definitely check out. His name is Global Kid Media. He's 14 years old. He's interviewed 1,000 people already, and in person, most of them in person, and he has a podcast also he does on IG Live too. And he is heading into the right direction. He's trying to be the first. Yeah, he's trying to be the first sideline kid reporter. And what do you think of that idea, having kids on sideline during in all sporting events? And what advice would you give him, especially a 14-year-old kid that is trying to find his goal?
Yeah, you know, I think that would be really awesome to have kids on the sideline, because I feel like as you get older, the more anxious you are and the more nervous you are. And I feel like sometimes with kids, they're like, okay, cool. Like, let's go. Let's go for it, you know? And I would love that. And I would love to see, like, kind of see how that mind works from a kid's perspective. But one advice I would give them is remember to really take in the moment and breathe. I know they're only going to be 14 if they have, you know, their first gig or whatnot. But I think for me, when I first did my first ever sideline show for SEC Network Digital last year for women's soccer, I was so nervous that before I knew it, the game was over. And I'm like, wow, like, I mean, I did a good job, but I wish I really just stood in that moment more. And I think that's due to COVID and everything. I think now I'm taking more in the moment. Like, it could be high school football or it could be Alabama football. Like, I'm just really taking a moment to myself to be like, wow, I'm lucky to be here. How amazing is this opportunity? And you remember that for the rest of your lives. I know pictures are worth 1,000 words, but, you know, you being there and you remembering that moment, to me, it means a lifetime.
Yeah, so now I do this fun little segment with all my guests that come on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. So okay. You ready for this?
I'm a little nervous, but let's do it.
Favorite food?
Cottage cheese. Sorry.
Okay.
Really awkward, but I have a story behind that if you want to know. But
do you miss Jersey?
No. No.
Outside of reporting in your sport, what else do you like to do?
I like to read.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite what's your most memorable interview you've done so far?
Oh gosh, come on. It probably had to be Alabama Athletics does a charity thing every Christmas called Project Angel Tree, and I got to interview one of the girls who was getting a bunch of like gifts and stuff from Alabama Athletics, and just to see the look on her face and see the appreciation at 6 years old, definitely by far my favorite interview.
Would you consider competing for the Olympics in the future?
No, because I'm too short to be in Olympics.
What's all right? So outside, all right. What are you most looking forward to when the season starts for you guys?
Racing.
100%. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Alabama women's soccer team this year?
They have something to prove. They are unbelievable, and they're just they play with such passion. That's why I think it's going to get them very far this year.
How about the softball team?
Same thing with them. You know, they have the most craziest fans in college softball. And when Alabama softball doesn't play, it really does hit the town. And they have something to prove too, because a little shaky last year in the beginning, but you know, I think they were going to be unbelievable and definitely go all the way this year.
How about the basketball team?
Men or women?
Both.
The men, I like it. I like the recruits. I like Coach Oates. He is very traditional basketball, which I love. He is a big guy on defense, and he's just so energetic. So I think they're going to definitely make the tournament. I think it's going to be one of those good years, but I think maybe the next couple years they'll be on top. But the women I'm so excited about because they have the power of recruiting, like it can really change. And they have 2 veterans. They have Jasmine Walker and they have Jordan Lewis, who have been there, done that, and they have such amazing success. And those are your true leaders on the team. So I am so excited, and I think they can compete with anybody in the SEC this year.
Favorite music?
Queen. Mm-hmm. I love that old time rock and roll, baby. My dad, quick story, my dad's all about taking us to the people to see these older guys before they die. So I obviously didn't see Queen, but I saw the Rolling Stones, and that was by far my favorite concert of all time.
Favorite NFL team growing up?
Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, wow. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Ew. I'm kidding. I love Dak Prescott. I love him. I think he's awesome.
The problem is he's putting up numbers, but our defense sucks. So that's an issue.
Yeah, you guys have like literally the worst defense in the league right now. And you know, real quick, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. What do you think about Stephen A. and how he hates the Cowboys? Whenever I see that tweet, I know he's gonna go off. So
I mean, I respect him what he does on his shows and all. But he has to chill, calm down a little bit. He's crazy when it comes to tweeting, and especially on the show, he goes out. But I don't know why he hates on my Cowboys so much. But we're gonna prove him wrong. Wait till we turn this around and win the Super Bowl. Not this year, but hopefully next year or the year after, so we can keep his mouth quiet. But you know what? I reached out to Stephen A. Smith to come on my show. He hasn't answered yet. Obviously, he's busy, so hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully. He is someone I would love to sit down and just like talk to. I think he's so interesting. He intrigues me so much. I just want to know what goes on in his mind. So.
I respect him, but when it comes to my Cowboys, he needs to calm down. Because we have a good team. It's just that the defense has to come around and play better. That's it. But let me ask you about your Colts. What do you think of their Colts this year so far? Obviously, no Andrew Luck, but I got Phillip Rivers, and I love your running backs and your wide receiver core, and I love the defense too.
Yeah, you know, I think it's like we're definitely middle of the pack right now. I definitely think it could either go really, really good or really, really bad. I am excited because I think having a veteran like Phillip Rivers like really does help that, you know, the offensive chemistry. I say this every year because I had him really good, and I don't want to jinx anything, you know? So I think it's definitely middle of the pack, definitely more of an improvement, but we'll see. And like I said, I do like the running backs too, and I like our kicker. I really do.
Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
What?
Oh, Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Kevin Hart. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Have you seen Kawhi Leonard's laugh before?
I haven't, but I just know Kevin Hart's laugh, so I'm just gonna go for that.
What are your thoughts on the NBA Finals so far? If you're watching it,
Jimmy Butler, man, I'm a huge Sixers fan, and I'm sitting in my sad boy hours because we got rid of Jimmy Butler. You know, I think Jimmy Butler is the best player. You know, AD's great, LeBron's great, but Jimmy Butler literally does not have the supporting cast like the Lakers do. And he's literally being like kind of like a Michael Jordan to me. You know, he is so smooth, like it's ridiculous. I've been big Jimmy Butler girl. I was so happy they won last night. And I think they're gonna shock the world. I really do.
Do you think they can force a game 7?
I do. I really do.
Wow.
I do. I'm gonna go for it. You know, a lot of people probably don't think because, you know, I don't know. It's just something about them. I really like, and it's all have to do with Jimmy Butler.
No, I'm pulling for the Lakers, and obviously with Kobe's situation, and also my friend's brother plays on the team too, J.R. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm close.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm close with the family. They're from Toms River, New Jersey. So
Why did I not know that? I feel like I should know that.
you should know that. Come on now, you're a Jersey girl.
I know I'm a Jersey girl, but I don't understand why I did not know that. Okay, yeah, cool. I mean, you know, I want that underdog victory. I always end up rooting for the underdogs. Like, I will tell you what, I'm rooting for Arkansas this season. I know everyone's probably like, why? But I predicted that they would upset Mississippi State. Yeah. And I was so right, and no one believed me. But Arkansas is not bacon bits. I will tweet that. I will make that a hashtag. Arkansas has a lot to prove, and I feel like that's kind of how I am right now with the NBA Finals. I am like the underdogs all the way.
Yeah, so speaking of Jimmy Butler, he always wanted his own team. I don't think for him, he doesn't fit with any other stars. If he has his own team, right now he's proving people wrong. He's definitely gaining a lot more respect with this run. And I always thought that Miami was a perfect fit for him with that Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley mindset, and Dwayne Wade. Also, Dwayne Wade had a big influence in him coming to Miami. So I feel like he found a home for himself in Miami, and I'm proud of what he's doing. He has no talent. I mean, obviously they have talent, but he has no stars like what Lakers do with LeBron and AD. And yesterday he had 40 points, and I think to make a game 7, he needs to do the same exact thing what he did yesterday.
Yeah, he has to. He has no choice. But literally, if he does, he needs to give his body a heck of a recovery season, because that he's putting up some numbers like, you know, how MJ used to do. So
yeah. So speaking of your Sixers, what do you like about Doc Rivers coming in now?
Oh, I'm such a fan. It gave me some hope. You know, for like 5 years, the hashtag has been trust the process. Yeah. And I've been trusted. And then, you know, it went trust the process to the hashtag went to processing. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to trust in the process again. And my thing is, all right, Ben Simmons is definitely one of the best defensive players I have ever seen. I need that boy to shoot. I need him to take that offensive leadership. But, you know, I am a big Joel Embiid girl. I think he's like, and I'm so happy when Shaq got on him before. I actually went on Christmas Day to see them play the Bucks. And when Shaq got on and called Embiid out, that's when Embiid went full beast mode. He has the potential to take over the league, but I don't know what it is. I don't think he's lazy. I just don't know if he's not confident enough. But I mean, the big boy can shoot a 3, like, no problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think so you have your 2 players. I think you need to have a little bit stronger of a supporting cast, and you need a finisher. Like, they'll get up in the first, second, or third quarter, but the fourth quarter, every single time, it just slips away. They need someone to finish the game for them, or they need to have a supporting group that needs to finish. And I really think the new coach definitely can enforce that in him, because, you know, he has experience. And I also think he vibes well with Philly. He gives a good Philly vibe, you know, and I think as a fan, I'm very excited. So we're at trust the process again. We're not at processing anymore. So
do you think that he can make both Embiid and Simmons work?
I hope so. He seems like a very old-fashioned, traditional type basketball coach that's all about that hard work and that grit. I hope so. We really need those two to step up. I mean, they have, but they need to step up even more. Kind of how Jimmy Butler is doing. They really need to take the team on their back. And also Philly's young too.
Yeah.
Like you get so many young players, and then we have a weird thing with injuries. You know, everyone's hurt. Like I don't know.
Especially Embiid is the most injury-prone player out there.
He is, but I will stick with Joel Embiid and he loves Philly. I think that's one thing that's exciting to see is that he loves the city, he loves the fans. And also I love his attitude. I love how he's like no chill, you know, because
Yeah.
I love that little feistiness in him.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm a New York Knicks fan, unfortunately, so we're going through the struggles still here. But who's the funniest teammate that who's the funniest teammate you're playing with right now?
Me? Like on my team?
I mean, on your team, who's the funniest teammate on your team? Yeah.
Oh gosh, we have so many personalities on the team. Okay, she graduated 2 years ago, but she's still one of my best friends. Her name is Tressa Vitus. She is literally the funniest person I have ever met. So you know how Target has like their Halloween decorations section
Yeah.
on right now? So you know how they have like those skeleton like dogs or cats, whatever.
Yeah.
So Tressa decides to buy one of these dog cat thingies at whatever, spent $20 on it, whatever. So she shows up to practice the next day with it on a leash, like this decoration on a leash, bringing it to practice and asked coach if like cacahuates could, that's what she called it, cacahuates can sit with the coach during practice. And it was on a leash. And I was just like, you are crazy. You are absolutely crazy. But I love that girl to death. And she definitely is the funniest person. And no one has been that odd, I think, since Tressa's left. But I'm still very close with her. But we have so many personalities on the team. So it kind of depends.
So a couple more things here before I let you go. And how grateful are you to be in the position where you're at right now, to play a sport and also to be a journalist at the same time, and the both things that you love in your life, and how grateful are you? And you started at a young age, like you said, watching games with your father and breaking it down after the games, and even during the games too. And so, how grateful are you to be in this position right now?
I mean, it's on. I have no words really. I wish I could be here forever, but I just the connections I've made here and being able to pursue both dreams and stuff. It's been such a true blessing, and I'm gonna miss it when I graduate, get my master's in August. So I'm gonna miss it, and I guess I'm just like so grateful even more that I was able to come back and finish what I started.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Obviously, is your goal to be on ESPN or something, or covering college games too?
So I would love to see myself in the next 5 years. Like I am looking for, my first station job right now. I don't care where it is. I don't care what market. I want to do the best I can, learn the industry, get my foot in the door. In 5 years, I would love to see maybe doing some sideline reporting for women's college basketball with WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
I love women's basketball. I almost went to school for it. So I would love to cover more of a women's sport. Of course, I would love, the end goal is to be like Nina, on NFL Live, breaking down the game for everybody and calling the shots and busting Marcus Spears' chops. Like that would be my dream. But I would love to go kind of how like Holly Rowe's going, like that route. Covering the WNBA, covering the Women's College World Series. Like that is a huge dream of mine, to cover something like that. Covering the Olympics for rowing, like cool. That would be really cool to commentate rowing. Just like how to do stuff like that. I would love to be in the next 5 years.
Yeah. So speaking of WNBA, I had the opportunity to interview Nikki Collin and Renee Montgomery on my show back in May from the Atlanta Dream, and Nikki Collin is the head coach for that team,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Renee Montgomery, one of the best point guards in the league, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They're such inspiration. It was an honor to talk to both of them, and especially Renee, because she's doing a great job with the social injustice, not focusing on playing, just focusing on what's right to do here with this whole situation. And Maya Moore started this whole thing, so shout out to Maya Moore.
Yeah.
But he, Renee Montgomery, she's an I'm just honored that she came on my show. And but what is your overall thoughts on what the WNBA is doing and all these other sports trying to make this situation better with the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think sports is such a powerful thing, and sports is the platform that will get the attention of these issues that needs to be addressed in our country. With politics, and I did not want to go into politics because I think it's so chaotic. And I feel like people sometimes get wrapped up in that and you don't get the overall message. So sports is such a good platform
Yeah.
to use these messages and get it out. And also what the WNBA is doing, and the NBA, MLB, NFL, I think that's what is inspiring the college level to do it. Because our team, we're trying to figure out we're trying to have these shirts and stuff that, we're trying to figure out what to say on those when we do our pre-race warm-ups. We did the march, that was led by Alabama football. And I think sports is such a powerful way, and I'm proud of them. And I'm thank them for giving us the platform at the collegiate level to continue and spread that message.
Mm-hmm. So the last two things here before I go, this is a question I've been bringing up to all my guests about the late Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, Mamba mentality, and the rest of the people that were involved in the horrible crash. And he was one of my role models growing up. It's still weird not seeing him here anymore. But do you remember where you were at that day, and what did they mean to you?
So actually, I was live on a women's basketball show as a sideline talent when we got the news, and no one knew at the time how we were going to address this, because no one knew if it was real, because I think it was TMZ at first who broke the news, and everyone, TMZ is like, you're going to trust it or not. As a journalist, you always want to have more credible sources, and I just couldn't believe it. He's one of my dad's favorite players. He's one of mine. And the fact that he fought for women's sports so much really meant the world to me. I wish I got the opportunity to meet him. He literally, I cried. I did cry. I did cry on air. I did, because just losing someone that is fighting the fight for us females in the sports industry and in the sports world in general, that was hard. And, his daughter was going to be the future of that, and she was going to be the leader of that force. And it just didn't feel real. And that's why 2020 sucks. Literally, it started with that, and then it just got worse. So.
Yeah, I mean, especially his daughter is just devastating, because she could have ruled the WNBA in the future, and she had her father's fadeaway shot already at 13 years old, and she was UConn bound. She wanted to play for UConn.
Oh, she could literally go anywhere she wanted, not just because she's Kobe Bryant's daughter, just the fact that she was just so good. I mean, her tapes were unbelievable. My sister, who's going to be 18, literally was like, I want to have a fadeaway like her. I'm working towards, and she's 5 years younger? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So before we get to the last thing, I forgot to ask you these two. What are your thoughts on the Seattle Storm winning the championship?
I mean, they're iconic. Literally, they are the GOATs. They are so fun to watch. I love it. I was speechless, I really was. I was just they were my pick to win anyway. But I loved the series. I thought they were dominant from the start. Good offense, good, strong, traditional defense. And just, I wish they actually got a parade. I know it was a little virtual, but definitely it was awesome to see all the hype around it, because I feel like the WNBA kind of gets overshadowed. And I was a little worried due to the NBA finals if it was, but it was so cool to see the NBA players being like, hey, congrats, here, how awesome is this? So I definitely think it was more brought up in the sporting world, and I'm really happy about it. I mean, they're iconic. There's nothing else I can say. So.
Yeah, so obviously I interviewed Brittany Bowen on my show. So when was the first time that you connected with her, and what's it like seeing her succeed on a high level too?
So I never got really a chance to talk to her. So she messaged me, I think during quarantine, and was like, hey, like, I saw you work for SEC Network. Like, do you have any like advice or blah, blah, blah? And I was like, girl, like you and I are on the same level. Like I'm a student just like you, like we're on the same level. Like I appreciate that. But then her and I were just talking about like some things and like what our goals were in the industry. And she's a good connection to have. I always like and retweet her stuff, and she does the same for me. I would love to meet her in person, hopefully after this whole coronavirus thing is over. But she's really cool, and she's really, really talented. I like watching her stuff, and I loved her little show she put. I think it was called Beyond the Lines with Brit. Like, cool name, first of all. I really, really think she's definitely a good talent, and hopefully I get to meet her someday.
Yeah, I think I sent you my interview with her too. I think, I'm not too sure.
I don't think you did, but please send it to me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. and the last thing here for you, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers?
Thank you. Thank you 100%. You guys are the reasons and the examples of why I get to have my season here at Alabama. And I cannot imagine going through the stuff they've been going through. And I definitely think that there needs to be a national holiday for these people, because they are the true heroes in our country, not the politicians.
Nope.
Not even like, I love sports, but those guys are the real heroes in our country, right? And in the world right now.
Okay, they deserve a pay raise for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But well said. And there it is, episode 553. Man, this has been an honor. Thank you, Arielle Schafer. You're such an inspiration. And obviously, I'm going to be sending more podcasts to you so you can join their podcast, my friend's podcast. And I'll send you that the 14-year-old kid. I'll send you all the pages on your Instagram account, so you have it there. And
okay.
But I just want to say thank you again for coming on. You work hard, keep working hard, keep grinding. Hopefully you guys have a season soon, and I know you guys are going to be do great things there with the rowing competition, rowing team, and continue success as a journalist. I'll keep in touch with you to see how you're doing, and we should do a collab show one day too.
Oh, totally. Yes. I have my own little show. I don't know really, I don't have a name for it, but I just kind of interview reporters and we just talk about what's going on in the sporting world. So I would love to collab with you, and thank you so much. I hope I did a good job. Was like I said,
I didn't realize this has been 1 hour, by the way, this interview.
1 hour. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize too. I was having so much fun. Oh my gosh. But yes, thank you so much for having me. That's like the best part about the world right now is that you can literally get in contact and make those connections with anybody. So I'm so happy you reached out to me. So
I'm happy that I reached out to you, because I'm gonna put, obviously I post all this on all my social media formats. I want everyone to see your story. You're gonna grow. Your page is gonna grow, and I love what you're doing. So keep it up. And like I said, Laura Rutledge 2.0.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That is the best thing I've heard all day. And I had practice this morning in Hurricane Delta. So that was the best thing.
Are you guys safe down there?
Oh, we're safe. It's just like, I'm talking about the really heavy wind and the rain and stuff. We're safe, but we got like the outskirts of it. And rowing through that this morning was definitely one for the record books. But so yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime. And stay safe.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.